second. What am I trying to accomplish here? Okay. So I have us on page Nun Test. So let's read. What was I doing? I was reading the top. So he said, "Gavor Yudata." So you already know. Ki chamesh etzbaos heim chamesh gavuros mansapach. So these are the double letters. Veheim kufulos. They're the double letters. Genegdam chamesh etzbaos biyad yamim. So he says, so since they're doubled, that's what it seems like he's saying. So there you have 5 fingers on the right hand, v'chamesh biyad small, and there's another 5 on the left hand. But tzarich la'alosam ad shlosh rishonos. So what you need to do with these gavuros, is raise them up to the gar. V'oz netaharim, and then at that place, al yedei hamayim, that the mayim, which is chesed, shehem chamesh chasadim, which represent 5 chasadim. Not sure exactly how he got 5 out of that, but that's what he says. It's the concept of sweetening the gavuros with the chasadim. So let's go on a little bit more, and he says like this. He says, "V'gam dekavim." So gam, you should have this kavana. L'masho daticho. What I already told you. Eich or hamochen dezer anpin. How it is that the light that contains the ore itself of the mochen dezer anpin. Nimshachim derek tzvarnei hatzbos. So I guess we've talked about this somewhere else. That comes through. It was certainly in the Otzoschaim. Comes through the fingers of the nails of the fingers. And so there's where you see that the kitzonim grab a hold at that place. So he says va'amnam. So al yedei ha'alosam. So when you lift them up lamala, ein nechazim, because they fall off, so to speak, they can't handle the light at the upper concept. This is the kavana one should have. The fish ein yotzim oz ha'oros misham, because then the lights, they'll come out from there. So let's go back over here. We'll just read the light print in the tiv, and it says, let me see. Let's see if I can get this focus. There we go. Leilnis boyer, up above we explain ki chamesh etzbaos shebekol yad v'yad, the 5 fingers on each hand. Heim chamesh gavuros, they represent 5 gavuros. V'heim meramazin the chamesh osios mansapach sheheim chamesh gavuros, which are the 5 gavuros. Then he says the osios matzapach hem kafulos. They're double letters actually, but osios alphabet. So in the alphabet, these are the letters which always come double. So if you want to say that's right hand, left hand, I guess. Kashem shechamesh osios matzapach, because these 5 letters matzapach hem osios kafulos. They're always double. So he said Came gam ba'adam yeshtei pamim chamesh etzbaos. So since we have the concept of double letters here, so therefore you have these gavuros in each hand. Chamesh b'yad yamim, v'chamesh b'yad small. So he says v'kashecha v'neitla yadayim. Now you're washing your hands. Yesh la'alos ad rosh as shnecha yadayim. So you have to bring up to the level of your head these 2 hands, shebechem eser etzbaos, which have these 5 fingers, which we under these 10 fingers between the 2 of them, and as we said, kaven sheberosh hu makam shlosh spheros rishonos, which is the chabad or the gar. So this is where the gar is located, and as a result of that, so going on the gushaman vichem as a yadayim, and as you lift up the hands, the etzbaos and the fingers. Ad Rosh to that place, Keneged b'makom ha'mochem, and they cry him Chabad, next to the Chabad, which is the place of the Mochin. Az netaharim, there's the place where you're at the origin of the Mochin, or the highest place of the Mochin. Then the hands become Az netaharim etzbos, the fingers are purified, v'hayadayim mahaklipos, and the hands is also from the kali. So he says, Ayidei hamayim, the mayim does this. So the harazu, this purification, na'asis ayederamayim shechshafkol halayadayim. It comes about as a result of the water that you pour on the hands. Shehim chamesh chasadim, which are 5 chasadim. Now that was my question. Is how do you get the 5 out of the word mayim, which is a gematria 90? So he says, Elu hamayim heim chachamesh l'sadam v'nikroim meimei hachesed. So this is how we get it. It's not the gematria, it's the concept of waters of chesed. So we know that it's the waters of chesed. Okay. So let me move over here. And he says, V'gam yesh l'kaven, so also should have this kavanah. L'mashin is boyer be'etz chaim, according to what we learned in the Eitz Chaim. Sheyesh kasher b'kabbalas ha'shefa b'sfiros, that there's a binding or some kind of a tie in the ability to be able to receive the shefa from the sfiros. For his pashtus na'atze b'deret kavim, and we understand that there are three lines, and how they spread is down these lines, these three lines. The Hainish b'kav yamim bo ha'shefa mechachma l'chesed of a yotzer derek tzvarne etzbos. So it comes down the right from the right brain, let's say, down into the arm, into the fingers. So yad yamim of v'nikdas b'netzach. And so if you're talking about the right arm, then it comes out through the fingers and underneath the nails, and it goes into netzach. V'chein b'kav small, same thing on the other side. Bo ha'shefa b'bina, the shefa comes from bina, l'gevura, and it goes into gevura. And it comes through the fingernails of the yad small, the niknas bahot. So we see how this connection works like that. So yotze ma'oras derek atzvarnayim. So he says that the light itself comes through the fingernails. Ne'achazim sham achitzayim, and at that place where there's a gilui. So he said, "Ne'achazim sham hitzayin," and that's where the hitzayin grab on, b'kedei liyonek misham, in order to be able to nurse off of that, to feed off of that. So he says, "Aka yedecha ba'alos hayadayim lamala," but when you lift up your hands up above, on keneged the rosh and opposite the head, he says, "Ein hitzayin yochol de'ha'achaz b'tzvarnayim," then the hitzanim cannot get a hold of the svarnaim, and this is the last one right here, I think. And it says, Ki kashahadayim hatzbos, when the hands and the fingers, heim litzad mala, when they're pointed upwards, or they're up above, Oslo yotzim misham ha'oras lahashpir lenetzach v'chol, then there's no problem that the lights are coming up. So his answer is, I wouldn't have maybe not made that answer, but he made that answer. So he says that since they're up above instead of down below, so therefore you're removing that michshol of the keli getting a hold of the, grabbing onto the fingernails, because they can't do it at that spot. They can't get a hold of it, the vichoch. Hey, mistalkim misham, so therefore they leave that place. Now there's a little bit of a shefa that we could learn, and we go back to 910 to Tes Zion down here on page Nun Tes, rather. There's a lashon siddur Rishash where it says shehem chamesha chasadim. So this is in the he says he took this idea from the Rishash. On netilat yadayim roshe tevas, because he says that the roshe tevas are come to the word ani, which is gematria kal. So what? Says Yakavin. So he says like this: Yakavin, this is your kavanah. The hamshech ma'acharayim the yitzira. So we're talking about bringing these hands into a higher level. So he said to extend down from the backside of yitzira. Where is Yitzira? So he says this Yitzira is Zeranpin. So here we're talking about the Acharayim of the upper part of Zeranpin, which is his Chagat. He says Acharayim de Ma. So the Acharayim of Ma comes out to be Kal. So he says comes out to be 130, and here it is. This is the Acharayim is a Ravua. And we know that the rule is that the acharayim of the upper, it becomes the panemius of the lower. So this is bringing a tremendous amount of light into Zeranpin. Lahoyer ba'asiyah, that is that this acharayim from Yitzira, which he says is coming from the Chagat, with to see why it's not Chagat 9, but he said the Chagat. He said Lahoyer ba'asiyah, it's a shining to say Shiach HaMalchus, which is Malchus. HaNikras Ani, who's called poor. HaNirmaz b'Roshei Tevis, al netilat yadayim loisen acharayim the Chagat, and be able to bring them up to that level of the Chagat. Now, I'm not sure what he means, the Chagat of Yitzira. So let's see what else he says. So he says, Achar Kach, he says, Yekave, now turn the page, I'm on Samach now. He says, Achar Kach Yekave Lachamshech L'malchus Meponim the Yitzira de Zer Anpin. So then we're talking about the face of Zer Anpin. Mochin de Ponim, Behem Shem Mab de Gimel Yadayim La Loisem Lefonim the Yitzira de Zah. So what we're using over here to lift them up are these three different names of Mab. Bekoich Shem Mab. And it's the power of the Mab that's going to allow them to come up. Let's read it again. Achar Kach Yekavi Lahamshech L'malchus. So now you're going to try to bring it into Malchus. Mipana the Yitzira. How do you do that from the Yitzira of Zer Anpin? So it's like a b'mochen deponim. They're going to be mochen deponim v'hem shem Mab. So they use this name Mab. So he says, what? Now I'm trying to figure out this. They're coming out of the Yitzir Zav, the Haim Shem Mab. This is the energy that brings them up. The Gimel Yadayim La'alosem Leponim, and bring them up to the level of the face of Yitzira, the Zer Anpin. The Koach Shem Mab, that is from the power of the name Mab, the Yitzira of the Ma of Yitzira, and then he shows it to us like this, and we saw this before. Yada Gedola, which is Hashem Elokeinu Hashem, that's the right side. Yad HaChazaka, which is the Gevura side, is Kozu, B'mochs of Kozu. And then the final one, which is Ma Hashem, Hashem, then it's Ma. It's Hashem plus Ma. So these are three kochos. And he says the Yamim is Chesed, and then it's spelled like this, Yud Vav Daled K Aleph, which means the first two letters of the Milui. And then the last part is the two final letters of the people, which would make the left side, small, was Gevura. Then he says Yada and Sois is going to be Havaya, and then Ma plus Ma. So these are actually the letters that do the lifting. Achar Kach, so then after that he says, Yekavin al netilas yadayim roshe tebus ani. You should have in mind that you've done this. Here's another kavana. Gematria Revuah Ma. So you should have the idea that this word ani, which is really the Revuah of Ma, Olakal, which comes to the Gematria of 130, Anaz, Hameir Bedas the Malchus, which shines now into the Das of Malchus. V'yakavin Lachamshech Lo Hey Gevuros, and you should have in mind to bring to her these 5 Gevuros, Hey Havayos, which are 5 Havayos, which we'll see down below, and this which also comes in the Gematria of 130. Lahagvir Hakal, in order to enforce or reinforce the Kal Hazeh, Al Ha'ani, onto the Ani, Shehi Revuah Ma Alam Takov Ashira, in order to sweeten her and to give her some wealth. So here is what we're having Kavanah here, is to bring in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Avayas, which is from Chesed to Hod, Gematria 130, and then you're going to bring it into the Acharayim of Das. You're going to bring this you're going to bring it for that through this combination, which also comes out to be 130. Okay, that's that little piece there.